I'm honored to be one of the co-founders of Move to Amend, and even more honored to be on the leadership team. We're glad that you're here with us, and I encourage you to share your stories, your gifts to us in form of song or spoken word or art or whatever form you care to share with us, and we'll have a lovely time together. Thank you for sharing some of your time during this special season with us. And now I'm going to pass it over to Keon. Keon.
Thank you, George. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Keon Bliss. I use he, him pronouns, and I am also a member of Move to Amend's National Board of Directors and a former staff member. And we're here today because we all believe that the importance of really making true the promise of democracy here at Move to Amend. And we believe this the beginning of really having that deep conversation is a critical first step being to amend the U.S. Constitution. And we do this explicitly to make clear that corporations are not people, that constitutional rights belong to human beings and not corporations, that money is not equal to protected speech, so that we can actually have a genuine objective political process that we can actually all participate in as equals. For Move to Amend, we began this movement as just 12 people gathered in a living room in California over 13 years ago. And ever since, we are now a national coalition of more than 480,000 people and continuing to grow. And while many organizations have risen to overturn Citizens United and other Supreme Court decisions giving corporate constitutional rights to artificial entities, and for very good reason, the root of the problem really goes back so much further than just 2010. And many of us here who have been with this movement for very long, we know that for more than 130 years, the Supreme Court has made a series of decisions that have extended inalienable constitutional rights to for-profit corporations under the First, Fourth, Fifth, and 14th Amendments. And for Move to Amend, we've been very clear in how we get to the root of the problem of Citizens United. We must both abolish corporate constitutional rights and get big money out of politics at the same time without leaving for any loopholes, which is why together our coalition drafted and supports the We the People Amendment, which is currently in Congress as House Joint Resolution 48. And it's the only proposed amendment that would address both court-created doctrines of corporate constitutional rights and money speech. And for us here as a coalition, ending corporate rule is not just a political issue. We consider this a human rights issue that really intersects with every struggle for justice happening today. Because for many of us, we know that the U.S. Constitution was originally written as a property rights document that only added human rights as an afterthought with the Bill of Rights. But even after it was ratified, the only persons considered worthy of protection were those who were wealthy, white, male, property-owning individuals over the age of 21, which at the time was less than 10% of the population. And while we've made some good progress here in expanding constitutional protections for other people, we're still dealing with that legacy, that culture that arose during that founding period that continues to put property rights and profit interests above basic human rights and well-being and sustainability for us and the planet. So if you care about anything from what's going on with climate change right now, to rights to our education, to affordable housing, to police accountability, and so many other issues, economic equity, and other equality issues. We encourage you, whatever your number one issue, make this issue your number two, because if we can actually make clear that corporations are not people and money is not speech, and make that permanent within the law of the land, we can actually stand to make serious headway and really move the ball forward to getting lasting change and anticipate the initial backlash. So, with that, I want to invite you all to continue to stick with us, and I'm going to pass it over to Greg, and who's going to talk a little bit about what we're here for today.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for being on this call. Happy, guess you could say Happy Year's Eve, right? You could be in a lot of different places, but you're here, and we are very appreciative of that. Greg Coleridge, I'm one of the co-directors of Move to Amend, and have had the privilege of being connected to Move to Amend, both at the national level for 5 years, and then for a number of years more at the local and state level in Ohio. And many of you have been active, no doubt, with Move to Amend in any number of ways. And we appreciate that because it does take a collected, concerted effort. We are not sort of a top-heavy organization where, you just sort of send the millions of dollars our way and you can forget about really doing anything else. We'll take care of it. That's not how we roll, because that fundamentally is not how social change works. Significant social change. We're trying to build, as many of you know, connected to Move to Amend, a bottom-up, authentically inclusive and diverse social movement, democracy movement to push this amendment forward. And so we have, quite honestly, had to rely and want to rely on people like you at the grassroots. Your time, your talents, and, if you will, your treasures. This is the end of the year for us. You have seen, if you receive our email, some of our accomplishments, but we come to you as we have been via email. Sorry about the frequency of them, but quite honestly, the bottom line is the bottom line. Since we do not rely, and it's very intentional, that we do not rely or depend on the big money that comes from wealthy, super duper wealthy individuals, corporate entities, political parties, huge foundations, government. We've chosen that because from day one, Move to Amend in our statement of values have said that we will intentionally and deliberately be both politically and economically independent. They go together. And so by being that, by being committed to that as a value, as a working principle, it means by definition that we want to be directly dependent upon and accountable to people at the grassroots who we work with and need to work with together to form this democracy, powerful movement to push for the We the People Amendment. So we're asking you respectfully, authentically, and with grace and with humility to do what you can. This is the end of the year, and anything you can do to help us out will help us out. We operate very minimally. We don't have a basic central office. It's out of somebody's home. The rest of us work virally. We're all sort of working contractually, but you get your money's worth. Let me tell you, we work hard. We're very skilled and committed to working with those of you who do have some extra time and talents and skills, as well as some extra cash to throw our way. Anything you can do to be as generous as possible, given what you believe is important and how important we are to, if you are able to donate commensurate with the ability and degree of importance you think, not just trying to reform certain conditions that are out there, which do need to be reformed to a certain extent, but fundamentally the crises we face go beyond reformation, more toward transformation. And that's what our We the People Amendment's all about. So anything you can do here between now and tomorrow evening will not only sort of go singularly, but will doubly matched, up to $48,000. We're over $30,000 now, I believe. Still have a ways to go, but with your help, we can get there. And here's a kicker. Here's a deal. For some of you, hopefully, this may mean something if you are able. Some of you may know, I recently, earlier this year, wrote a book. It's called The Depth of Change. And it's a sort of a collection, an anthology, if you will, that is spans about 4 decades worth of movement building and of working on social justice, economic justice, peace, working with a variety of groups in a variety of settings. They're poems, they are writings, they are testimonies. Wrote a play about democracy, about populism, a variety of different mediums of information that, even though some of which go back a number of decades, sadly, they are still relevant. And part of why they're still relevant is because we still have not gotten to the heart of things and to the heart of the problem in dealing with systemic problems. And the only way to deal with systemic problems is systemic solutions, which we think the We the People Amendment addresses. So the deal is that if you are able to become a monthly donor for $29 per month sustainably, so a monthly donor, that's less than $1 a day. Come on, $1 a day. If you can do it, I will send you an autographed copy of The Depth of Change. It'll go in the mail probably first of the year, and it'll come your way. So go to movetoamend.org/donate, and there you will find both a way to mark that. There's even a link to the book. You can take a look at the table of contents. So for what that's worth, hopefully some of you may feel that. Please do consider that. And thank you so much for all your past contributions, and we hope your continuation both in the present and in the future. Happy New Year. So now I think on the queue is Anne, who is going to share her story and introduce an enticing video. Hello, Anne.
Hello. Happy holidays, everyone, and we're on the brink of a new year, so this is a timely event now. My name is Ann Wilson, and I am in San Jose, California. I have been with Move to Amend for about 10 years, and I am the affiliate lead for the Santa Clara County affiliate, which is a local affiliate group that works here. And I also facilitate this California affiliate, where we get together, all the various local affiliates in California get together and talk about how to move forward with our mission to amend the Constitution to clarify that corporations are not people. And it has to be a constitutional amendment, because otherwise our Supreme Court can, if it becomes a law or some other way of saying that, then the Supreme Court can overrule it. But once it's part of the Constitution, then it becomes finished and it can no longer be in the subject to any of our various political parties. And the reason I started working with Move to Amend was because I felt I am retired. I have raised children in the area, and I have had a career in the computer industry here in California. And I wanted to start making an effort as a volunteer. And I was looking around at the areas where I thought we could use help. And I noticed that there were several different venues. There's the environment. I had started working in the environment for a while. But I noticed that no matter what kinds of regulations or resolutions, I'm sorry, I have a puppy here that wants me to pet them. That no wonder, whatever kind of laws we put in place, there's this sort of catch-22 of power going on right now in our democracy, where since corporations have been given the same rights as people, that whatever protections we set up for the environment, whatever protections we set up for healthcare, whatever protections we try to set up for mandating living wages. I mean, people ought to be able to live on the money that they earn and not have to have multiple jobs in order to provide for their family. The corporations, because they are also people, can come back and use their own rights, which are equivalent to ours now, and use the arguments that they have the right to make money. Therefore, we cannot set up any protections that would prevent them from making money. And because they have significantly more money and more lawyers than your individual, they tend to win. And there's lots of good examples of this on the Move to Amend website about various cases where, we try to protect our children from being exposed to advertising of nicotine. And that protection was put in place. The legislators set the laws, and then the corporations come in and undo that. And are able to do that. So anyway, that's why we need to make sure that this is once and for all clarified. Corporations are not people. We need a government that can protect the people, that is run by the people. And so that's why I'm working with Move to Amend. Now, I'm a volunteer. I actually don't get paid, and all the groups that I work, all the people that I work with directly in the California are not paid. We do need funds though, because we need to have our national staff setting up goals and keeping our infrastructure in place and having a website so that we can get this message out. And so we do a couple of different things. We have right now there's a Senate bill, not a Senate bill. There's a House bill, HJR 48, that we've started with. That's moving us towards a constitutional amendment. And we're also working on trying to get a Senate bill introduced. We are also working on getting the message out and try to educate people on this issue, because it's kind of dry. People don't really, it's not the most exciting topic in going around. But so we did actually, both the California and the Santa Clara affiliate worked on a little video podcast, and we wrote a script that we thought we could put some pictures and video to. And we reached out to Peter Coyote, who actually read the script for us. And we were able to finish that project. It took a few years, but we do now have a lovely video narrated by Peter that we hope you will get. I think you'll get to see that tonight and will enjoy. So I want to thank you very much for your attention. And I'm going to thank you very much in advance for your donations. And Happy New Year.
The Supreme Court of the United States has decided that corporations have the same constitutional rights that we human citizens have. To get an idea of what this actually means, consider the following. The court has decided that corporations have the right, granted by the First Amendment, not to speak when they want to keep facts from us, such as what's in our food. For example, residues of the herbicide glyphosate have been found in lettuce, carrots, barley, wheat, and rye, in some cases up to a year after the soil was treated. The companies whose food products contain these residues do not have to reveal that to consumers, based on a 1995 case in which the court ruled that dairies using bovine growth hormones in the production of milk did not have to label the milk with that information. The courts also concluded that corporations have the Fourth Amendment right to privacy protection, and therefore must never be subjected to surprise inspections for safety hazards or other malfeasance. A 1978 decision prohibited inspectors of the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, from conducting warrantless searches of business premises. The court has ruled that corporations have the Fifth Amendment right to be compensated for future profits lost if government tries to restrict their activities, even if those restrictions are needed to protect the health, safety, or welfare of the public. It can become financially impossible to prevent a business from damaging the environment if the local or state government has to pay the business the anticipated profits it could have realized were it allowed to proceed unregulated. The court has decreed that corporations are to be treated as persons and are entitled to equal protection of the laws under the 14th Amendment. As a result, local and state governments are prohibited from enacting laws which favor locally owned businesses and family farms over wealthy multinational corporations. Moreover, the court has established that corporations are not bound by state laws intended to protect the health, safety, or welfare of its residents. A corporation is basically a group of persons working to accomplish a purpose and is treated as a single entity in order to own property and to sue or be sued in a court of law. At one time, corporations were chartered for a limited time, and were restricted to working to achieve a specific goal in the public interest. Today, corporations can live forever and may be created solely to make a profit for their shareholders. As the power of corporations has grown over the years, they have increasingly taken charge of producing and distributing food, water, utilities, education, healthcare, and other elements of human life. Having the sole purpose of making a profit for their shareholders while ignoring the welfare of their employees, customers, and the communities in which they're situated, they make a mockery of democracy and threaten our very existence. Incorporation can be a useful tool to organize society, but it only works for our benefit as long as corporate power is subordinate and accountable to a democratic state. To achieve that subordination and accountability, a 28th Amendment to the Constitution is required. Move to Amend is a national, nonpartisan coalition of citizens and organizations working together to ratify such an amendment and thereby make our government accountable to the people, not just to the moneyed interests. Visit movetoamend.org and read about our We the People Amendment. If you agree with us, sign our petition, please, and join us to support this cause.
Happy New Year.
That is a powerful video. I hope it's something that you can share with your networks and use as an education piece. So now we get the treat of hearing from someone who can share the story with us. In addition to sharing his story, we get the extra special treat of a song from Charlie Price. Charlie.
Oh, sorry, Charlie. I think you might be muted.
Hmm. Could you hear him?
I could.
Yeah, still muted, Charlie.
He hasn't noticed.
Maybe he has.
We'll come back to Charlie.
Hey, Charlie. So sorry. I think you are muted. On your end, you will see if you hover the mouse over your image, you will see an ellipsis. Click on that, and then you're gonna see mic settings. I think you might be connected to another microphone on your computer, or something might be off. You are unmuted, but somehow we cannot hear you. Sorry about that.
No, sir.
I failed to mention to y'all earlier that there is a space for you to put in comments and questions. So, Charlie, when you're ready or things are better, a note in the comments that let us know you're ready. And in the meantime, if Ali Imbis Davidson is available and ready to speak with us, are you? Ali? I may be saying it wrong.
Um,
Eli's not here.
Well, that may not be ready just perfectly. Oh, go ahead. Who's that? It's not me.
It's
Okay.
Eli.
Well, if Ali isn't ready right now,
Okay. I guess we lost George. She got kicked off of the thread, and Charlie's still muted. So hopefully, down at the bottom, if you pull up your screen, Charlie, down at the bottom is where I have to unmute and mute. If that's helpful at all. And I think we'll just move on while we wait for George to get back. And I'd like to introduce Shelley. Shelley Williams, she's a longtime Move to Amender, and the floor is yours.
Hey everyone, I'm Shelley Williams, she, her pronouns. I am a co-director, one of 6 of us. That's my kid in the background. And thank you all for coming tonight. Sorry about the difficulties. We'll bring Charlie back soon, I'm sure, and hear his awesome song that I've been able to have the pleasure of hearing before. And yeah, so you heard from Greg earlier that, you know, we can't do this without you. We're a 100% grassroots funded organization. So we are literally, you know, singing for our supper right now so we can continue doing this really critical work, which, you know, there's a small staff of us at the national level. Most of the work is done by volunteers on the ground all over the country who have been, you know, getting resolutions passed, you know, getting petition signatures and lobbying their reps, which has allowed us to get to, you know, our biggest contingent in Congress yet in this last Congress, which was 95 co-sponsors. So we're making a lot of progress, and this has all been done in a really, really grassroots way, which means we don't take money from big foundations. We don't take money from, you know, corporations, and we don't work with any political parties. So we are very, very, very reliant on individuals giving what they can. Our average donation is $45. And so all the work that we've done, all this momentum has been through, you know, people giving what they can and doing what they can. So we have another offer that we're doing, which is a raffle for one of our t-shirts if you commit to giving $50 a month. And, you know, this funding that you're giving is going directly to the work. Like we are a small staff, we are scrappy, you know, we do things in the most efficient way that we can so that everything that we do goes directly to, you know, really impactful work that advances what we're doing on the grassroots level. And so we really, you know, appreciate people who think about giving in a monthly way rather than, you know, one time. End of year is good. We rely on that. But knowing what we're getting each month allows us to plan and budget and, you know, be able to, you know, predict that we could grow in some way that we need to as we move along. So we are offering in this raffle, whoever wins, and this is for anybody who commits today to giving $50 or more per month, a really cool t-shirt. And we have a number of really, really cool designs that come in different colors. So you can pick whatever design and color that you want. So I'm going to present here and show you what we've got. Let's see. Chrome tab, and let's see, here we go. Okay. So we've got the classic design here, and we have a front only, but we have a front and back as well, and that's what we're offering for this. So you can get this in any of these colors, white or blue. And so this is our classic logo. It says End Corporate Rule, Legalized Democracy, has our website, and this is kind of the, you know, classic recognizable logo. We have this t-shirt, and you can see it comes in white, blue, green, yellow, pink, gray, and it says, slavery is the legal fiction that a person is property. corporate personhood is the legal fiction, that property is a person. And it has our website on it. And we have Free the People. My kids saw this design, my 7-year-old, and he said that he wanted this t-shirt because he had not seen this before. So this is a more recent vintage. This was our, I think, 2018 campaign to escalate our tactics with folks in Congress who had either, made a pledge to amend or seemed like, low-hanging fruit who should join. And we really, really, had some amazing actions across the country. And a lot of them did result in getting co-sponsors. It was a really cool year of action. And that was our Free the People campaign. But that design is awesome, in my opinion. And this is a real vintage. This is Stamp Out Corporate Rule. This was from our Stampede campaign that we did with Ben & Jerry's. And we still, sell these in our store, which there's a lot of cool stuff in this store too. I can maybe take you through that briefly after this. But we do still have the stamps, both self-inking and regular stamps that you can stamp money with or stamp your mail or anything you want to do to kind of get this messaging and the website out there. But the classic is a corporation is not a person, money is not speech, movetoamend.org. And then there's some other ones I can even show you after this. This one, a little spicy. I'm not going to say it because my 7-year-old is right here, but that's our edgy design. So that is also an option. Also comes in the same colors as a lot of these other shirts. And this one, socialism for people, not corporations. It has the little roses. And that one even comes in pink, if you're into that. So these ones at the bottom, they don't come in enough sizes or they're just really old shirts from our Democracy Unlimited days. So we're not going to offer those because we can't guarantee that we're going to have the size that you need. But also I'll just talk a little bit about the store. We've got lots of books that you can purchase. Some of them can only be purchased in our store. Actually, we do not have the timeline right now. We've got DVDs, our Legalized Democracy DVD. That's really, really good, really useful if you're trying to introduce anybody to this issue. It's a little dated, but still very relevant. It's only half an hour and is really good for like house parties. And then we have our OccuDoc, which was about the Occupy movement. House party kits, which, have that DVD and have lots of other kind of cool propaganda. More books and the stamps that I was telling you about. So we've got self-inking ones might be a little better. So we've got the corporation is not a person, money is not speech. The system isn't broken, it's fixed. And, not to be used for bribing politicians is the third one. And so those are all available in our store. We've got lots of cool stickers, our corporate flag. This was from Adbusters, if some of you might be familiar. And the Free the People logo and the Move to Amend regular one. And then we've got lots of tabling materials. So we've got lots of brochures, our strategic plan, lots of stickers, postcards, things of that nature. So just a quick little tour through the store. And so if you commit today to giving $50 a month to Move to Amend, you're entered into a drawing. Might be a very small drawing, might even be just you. We'll see how it goes. But we will let you choose the t-shirt of your choice and you'll get that within a week. And we really hope that you consider, if you're not somebody who has financially supported us in the past, to consider doing so. We are the long game to getting to the root of the fundamental issues that make all the other things that we care about really, really, really difficult to fight against. So that will pass it back to George, I believe.
Thank you. And it's really exciting. I really love the stamps. They're my favorite. Stamping money is a wonderful thing. And I think I've gotten one back. And that was very cool when I lived in Baltimore. So now we're going to hear from Fern about her story. Fern?
I am also part of the Move to Amend family because I co-work with Alfonso. And so my story getting involved with the fight against corporate greed is, we were in Citizens Climate Lobby, and like there were so many issues that go even before and beyond the way we don't take into account externalities in our economy. So, I've written some pieces on how that influences health and education. And, we already saw it very beautifully said in that video, which we will definitely be promoting around here. And what I wanted to share about Move to Amend is that it's just a great bunch of people, and definitely support them in spirit and economically as best as I can. And I even wrote a little song. It's still Christmas themed because, too much eggnog makes me write songs. So here it goes. It's to the tune of like, have yourself. Okay, I'll just go into it. Have yourself an actual democracy with Move to Amend. We are fighting for citizens united to come to an end. Have yourself a ballot where your vote counts more than money talks. There's no way it's right that corporate greed can carry on. It sucks. Once again, it's the richest man that promotes his plan. It was written in the Constitution that power should be ours. One day soon, the politics will shift again towards, I don't even know how towards democracy. We'll see the world we've always longed to see. So support right now a chance at real democracy. Okay. And so for me, I think corporate greed is like definitely my number one issue. And I work with the Alliance for Just Money and getting towards democratizing the money system, which is like the second issue. But we can't fix one without the other. So support Move to Amend and learn more about the crooked world of economics, and follow Alliance for Just Money as well. And donate if you can. That's the spirit of giving. That's the holiday season. And if you give and support the matching, I'll throw in another song like later. Thank you guys. Let's jump back to the other songwriter.
Yeah. Thanks. And all right, so I see that Charlie is back and I can hear you.
Good.
We'll go back to you.
Teacher.
And you're on the spotlight.
All right. Hey, you guys. I'm with the local Move to Men group here in Nevada County. And I just want to put out there anything you can do to sing to the general public instead of the choir. Going to your county fair and having a booth, joining in a parade, a 4th of July parade, anything that will expose Move to Amend's message to the general population is fabulous. And the stamp is a great one. I've gotten money stamped, returned, come back to me. And what really let me know it wasn't my money, it was in a different color. So, support Move to Amend with your dollars, but do more than that. Reach out. These folks that have children killed in mass shootings, and there are partners. They just don't realize it yet. It's the gun manufacturers that are a big part of all of this gun violence. Reach out to small businesses, chambers of commerce in small towns. They don't want big corporations coming in and ruining the atmosphere in their town that has made their town a wonderful place to visit. People come and dine and spend money in these small shops, and here comes Target, ruining the atmosphere and ruining all these small jobs. Same with the small farmers. They're natural partners of ours. They just don't realize it until you reach out to them. Of course, Move to Amend needs your dollars, but it needs more than that. It needs that communication to the general public. So hope you'll join all of us and do that extra effort. And if you can't do the extra effort, write the check. It's important. Buy one of the stamps. Stamping those $20 bills is important because that's the one that's always in circulation. And help us all and help us build the movement by reaching out. Thanks. That's about all I have to say, you guys.
Oop, Greg, you're on mute.
Now you're muted.
All right. Some people may think that's actually a good thing, but anyway. All right. Looking at the schedule, I don't know if it's my turn here to. Well, I had a poem I was going to share. This is not something, since I just wrote it a week or so ago, but so as a result, it's not in the book that I shamelessly self-promoted for Move to Amend earlier, but just again, that book is a collection of, I do have some poems in it, columns, editorials, a variety of different pieces, a few sermons, and a play I wrote, spoken word, variety of other things. But this is a poem I wrote that I think is timely for the occasion. It's called Reality Check, and it goes like this. Our movement to abolish corporate personhood and money as speech is difficult, often frustrating, and frequently feels like we're not making progress, deemed as not relevant, not immediate, not urgent, not newsworthy, not to mention downright impossible. But take a moment and a breath, step back, have perspective, listen to your conscience, put in context, face reality. Our current problems, actually crises, as communities, as a nation, as a species, become wider and deeper every day, with the pace speeding up like circling water as it nears the mouth of a drain. If we have the courage, that is, to truly acknowledge the signs that are all around us, political, social, economic, ecological, ethical, interconnected problems and crises that make us realize that electing better representatives, while important, isn't enough. Passing better laws, while important, isn't enough. Enacting better regulations, while important, isn't enough. After all, elected representatives today can be unelected tomorrow. Passed laws today can be reversed tomorrow. Enacted regulations today can be unenacted tomorrow. Rather, our response must fully answer the questions. Our solutions must be in proportion to our crises, and our commitment to change must equal the scale of the energy of those creating injustice and reducing our power. What we envision must be part of the Constitution, where it becomes rooted, embedded, anchored, beyond the ability to change easily by simply removing good public officials, reversing laws, and unenacting regulations. Our eye on the prize, despite all the barriers, must be constitutional change. After all, history shows what initially seems impossible becomes inevitable. What once was a ceiling of possibility eventually becomes the floor of reality. And what we can only now imagine becomes the obvious, concrete step forward. If true, then answer this. How many systematically altering ideas have been converted into actual policy proposals and have been introduced as legislation in Congress as an amendment to the United States Constitution and have attracted nearly 100 congressional co-sponsors and have over 700 national organizational endorsers and have over 700 communities, including 9 states, that have passed endorsing municipal resolutions and ballot initiatives and have nearly 500,000 individual supporters and have a skilled staff and board dedicated to movement building, diversity and inclusion, and finally, have a collectively, democratically run national organization with local groups and advocates that is politically and economically independent from the pressures by the power structure, which include government, political parties, big foundations, corporations, and a handful of super rich individuals, to moderate, temper, or water down what is ultimately needed. The answer, exactly, precisely none. Zero, nada, nil, zilch. What Move to Amend is doing, you and us together, is incredibly rare throughout history. We're calling not to reform, but to transform our relationship between people and the institutions we created, to make government accountable to us, to make all corporate entities subservient to us, to ensure that the ultimate right to decide is empowered to us. But it's also fragile because the interrelated problems and crises, all the problems, all the issues, demanding immediate reaction, response, resistance, to say no, to stop the assaults and the harms to people, to places, to the planet. But there's an alternative to no, to simply opposing. It's proposing. It's promoting an alternative. It's a yes to the We the People Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. For starters, a vision, call, and plan that affirms that only a human being is a person with inalienable rights, not corporate entities, and that political money in elections is not free speech, which shall be democratically regulated. It's definitive, it's clear, it's unequivocal, and a stepping stone to even further transformational change. It asserts that Congress shall take action, not may as other amendments propose, since may also mean possibly, perhaps, perchance, but can also be interpreted as may not, as in not here, not there, not now, not ever. In the end, is it all worth it? Worth organizing for systemic change, not just immediate relief, worth going on the offense and not always on the defense, worth not seeing immediate results versus sometimes seeing some immediate outcomes from taking immediate actions to address immediate problems. It all depends. Not on politicians, not on bureaucrats, not on corporate executives, not even on committed nonprofit leaders, but on us. That being you together with other yous who collectively at the grassroots have faith, trust, commitment, and the courage to clearly see the current reality is incredibly dire for us and all living beings if all that happens is less than transformational. Yet, phenomenally encouraging if we become aware, have vision, and take action for a new reality that's in harmony within ourselves, with other living beings, and all living things, to create justice in all their forms, to ensure a livable world, and to create real authentic democracy, where every single person has the dignity, respect, support, and power they should have, in many cases, for the very first time. That's more than Move to Amend's immediate current strategy, but it's grounded in our vision. It's a basis for how we engage with our grassroots leaders and supporters, and it's a commitment when connecting with other organizations, starting with affirming that human beings should have the power and right to determine their own collective future of self determination, not limited by so called rights of corporate entities, not trapped by the so called rights of money. This is where we stand. To us, it's all worth the time, energy, and financial resources, as it has to so many like you in the past, and as we hope to you and so many more in the present and future. Peace.
Thanks so much for that, Greg. It was lovely to hear and made a lot of sense. Doesn't always happen with poetry. Sometimes it takes us places that took me on a journey as well. Um, I want to share with you that we have 3 new recurring donors. Um, we've got one at $5 a month and 2 at $10 a month. That's great. So thank you so much. And I know now that we can hear from Alfonso or Jenny. You guys get to choose.
As soon as I unmute myself, I can go. Hi, everyone. My name is Alfonso. I am one of the other 6 national co-directors. I joined Move to Amend about 4 years ago, and people on national staff and affiliate leaders come from all walks of life, and naturally, their priorities might be different. However, we all come to this movement with the priority to establish that corporations should not have the same rights that you and I have, as it is the case under current law. Uh, Neither that money should be considered a form of free speech, which it is under current law. These two aberrations are the cornerstone of many problems that afflict our society, our country. um for me, what got me into activism, it was the climate catastrophe. I live in a coastal community, and we have seen the effects of climate change every summer, every hurricane season. um Winters are becoming colder, even for this area down south in Texas, and summers are becoming more and more intolerable. And this is all because of the abuse that the planet is being submitted to for the sake of profits by corporations. Um, I don't know about you all, but corporation cannot sweat, cannot go hungry, cannot suffer the pains of life. Therefore, they should not be considered a person or use corporate personhood rights in their advantage. Uh, Whatever the issue that you may care about the most, if you think about it, it boils down to those two um, horrific law precedents that have been enacted. And Move to a Man is the only organization that is working on addressing those two issues. There may be many other organizations working to end Citizens United, but the problem goes beyond that. Before joining Move to a Man, I had no idea of the term corporate personhood rights, and it took me a while to learn all the things that are not taught in grade school. Luckily, Move to a Man has an always free self-paced education program that you can access. You can learn all these things, and it's absolutely free. You can do it at your own pace. Whenever you have a chance, you can do half an hour one day, 2 hours the other, as you can do it. Um, so that is a terrific resource that is available and is offered by Mutual Man. But there is so much more than Mutual Man does. So besides being a source of education and empowering citizens, they are also agitators. They are visionaries. Um, we're talking that they were ahead of their time 12, 13 years ago when the Citizens United ruling was about to happen. And now they're planning ahead to what is next, what is the best long-term solution, and getting big money out of government and ending corporate personhood rights. The We the People Amendment is hands down the best approach to this. But as you can imagine, that entails a lot of work. Passing a constitutional amendment is not easy. It's not impossible. It has been done 27 times before, but it is an uphill battle, especially since we are going against the special interests of billionaires, of mega corporations, you name it. The deep pockets and the big interests are at stake, so they're not gonna concede power easily. We need to create a movement. We need to spread the word. We need to tell everyone, like Charlie said, go to state fairs, go to the farmers market, um, take a petition with you, talk to people, let them know about all these things about the movement education program, which is a great way to educate people about all this. It's very digestible, very easy to understand. I will be sharing the link on about for that in just a minute. But before moving on to that, I wanted to stress, as Shelly was saying, our monthly donations or recurring donations are come from people, everyday people that are fed up with the current situation we're in, and they whatever they can spare, whether it is $5, $10. I think I heard it's $50 or $40 our average donation, which is not a lot. There are many other organizations that get much more than that. But we have the we can brag about being independent, both financially and politically. We have no strings attached. We are only accountable to everyday real people, not fictitious corporations or billionaires. We have absolutely no ties to any of that. So I just want to ask you all to think about whatever your number one issue is. If you already donate to that cause, make a either split that donation between your number one cause and move to amend, or whatever amount that you can spare, whether it be a dollar a month, $5 a month, because in order for your number one issue to come to fruition, you will most likely need to get rid of the corporations and the special interests that are getting in the way and not allowing you to make any advancements or any accomplishments on your number one issue. Again, just think about it, whether it is climate change, whether it is the for profit medical system that we have, the housing crisis, pretty much everything. Everything boils down to corporations having too much power, too many rights, and abusing those rights, and the deep pockets that they can use to influence the policy making process. I remember reading about a university study that demonstrated how the rich and the corporations have way significant, more bigger impact on the policy making process. There could be entire communities wanting to pass a legislation, but if there is one corporation with enough um, money, political money, they can pretty much reject anything that the community might want to get passed. It really, I cannot stress this enough. Whatever your number one issue or passion is, think about it and see how there's an intersection on that with corporate power, corporations having too much power and using their money as a form of free speech. And once you can come to that conclusion, ask yourself, uh, how much I want to get my number one issue passed. Therefore, I need to make a contribution or support. Either if you cannot make a financial contribution, which by the way are going to be doubled, like Greg was saying, you have until the 31st at midnight to make those $10 or $20 double. Um, just try to realize that whatever it is that you're caring about, that you care about, try to put this amendment issue as the number two so that you can get your number one issue to the finish line.
1000%.
Thank you.
Thanks for that, Alfonso. So I want to take just a second and invite everyone to just really pay attention to this moment and realize that we are working for, and you are part of, doing something that's never been done. And we will be described as a unconventional model of doing work with our co-directors and our bottom-up organizing, our dependency on those volunteers and affiliates who do the lion's share of the strategic work and thinking. But it's happening, and you're part of that. And it's something to just feel so electrified about. It's fantastic. I'm really honored to be part of this work, and it's my honor to share the leadership team, which is sometimes described as a board of directors, with Tara Ingram. And Tara is going to share a little bit with us now. There's one other thing. Oh, I wanted to say this before I say goodbye. Not that I'm leaving now, but we will be winding down quickly. Time just flies. I know every one of you who have joined us tonight are wonderful people. And if we were hanging out, you would buy me a drink or two, maybe even a whole bottle of wine. So donate the cost of a bottle of wine a month as a sustainer. That would be awesome. I will feel the benefit and joy of that bottle of wine every month. Now, Tara.
Hi everybody. It's good to see you all. I'm Tara Ingram. I'm in Sacramento, California, she, her, and I'm on the board of directors here at Move to Amend and have been a part in some form or another for the last 10 years. And, you know, what I want to start with is, like Alfonso was saying, you know, stressing like, whatever your number one issue is, corporate constitutional rights is a key element of getting that shifted. And what happened for me 10 years ago is that I had 5 number one issues or whatever, right? Just I was seeing so many layered systemic issues and not knowing how to address them and putting out the fires. And I went to a barnstorming tour and Move to Amend corporate constitutional rights became my number one issue because I know, you know, throughout that without changing corporate constitutional rights, without ending that, nothing else is really going to get us where we need to be. So we need to get corporations out of our Constitution. And in a more sort of down to earth, sort of real life practical examples of that, I'm going to tell a story about where I live. And it's kind of got multiple layers to it that all connect. I I've recently been speaking with somebody who there's a large medical facility that is in their neighborhood, has been growing over the last, I don't know, 20 years or something like that. And they just keep expanding and expanding and expanding. And it's really impacting the neighborhood in multiple different ways. But one of the key ways it's impacting it is parking, because the staff and the employees of the medical center park in the streets. And I know the reason that they park in the streets of this neighborhood is because they have to pay for their parking at their place of employment, because the parking lots are privatized. And I know that because a good friend of mine actually works at that facility. So it was a big deal for her. She'd have to park and then walk, blocks and blocks to her car late at night, being a social worker in the ER. So, and parking in general has been privatized throughout downtown. It used to be that there, pretty much everywhere except for a few small areas, it was a sign that said 2-hour free parking or whatever, 3 hours, right? You had to move your car after a little while. Now there's meters almost everywhere. They've really exploded, and 2 hours of parking now can easily cost you $5 or more. And those are all privatized as well. So private companies are running the parking meters. And this has all happened like in the last 10 years or so, since the downtown arena was built. The arena that was built against some general public support, with more than half the cost being subsidized by city, who bought bonds or offered bonds for giving that money up. And the bonds were, that debt was supposed to be paid by parking revenue. So since that time, parking meters have sprung up all over town. So parking that used to be free now puts money in the hands of the private parking company. And then the parking company gives some money to the city to pay off the bond debts for the privately owned arena. So basically, we're paying for the privately owned arena. And it's just like this. While those specific examples of how that happened may not be directly tied to corporate constitutional rights per se, in the sense of, how the arena got that deal, the fact of business interests being dominant over community, right? That's the thread throughout here. Business interests, profit being dominant over people and community. And, the housing here is just unbelievable cost in the last 10 years, or even just since COVID. Many people are being displaced. Many, just an unbelievable increase in unhoused people here. People who are on disability who literally can't even afford a room for rent. The room for rent is like $800, and they don't get that much money. So it's multiple layered. So I know that business interest, profit interest, will continue to dominate until we get rid of corporate constitutional rights. So let me see if I can figure out presenting here. I want to show you. Here we go. Oh, there we go. Okay. So this is a comic cartoon that demonstrates these interests, right? We, the corporations, through corporate constitutional rights and money in politics, puppet hands on Congress, on the White House, on the Supreme Court, and down at the bottom, corporations balancing our powers in their favor since 1886. So we don't have that balance of power, right? In reality, we have power aiming towards profit. So please contribute to our match fund of $48,000. Every dollar up to that amount that you contribute will be matched through tomorrow, December 31st. As been stressed, Move to Amend is entirely supported by real people like you, and who are passionate about defending our democracy from big money and big corporations. Our average donation, I think, is something like less than $25 a month. We take no corporate contributions, no government grants. We don't get funding from political parties or political action committees. So please help us legalize democracy and amend the US Constitution to empower we the people to make the decisions that affect our lives and beyond. Thank you so much.
Why? Wow. So I mentioned that we were winding down and things would start going fast, and now we've got about 20 minutes left or so. I know I want to hear from Greg or Jenny about lobbying. Who wants to tell us about lobbying? And then maybe another update. Yeah, Greg? Lobbying. Very good.
Yeah, we may do this tag team, Jenny and I. Well, you know, the heart and soul of sorts, programmatically, of what we have been about, an important part has been promoting from the ground up this amendment, the We the People amendment, that definitionally will address what you have heard repeatedly mentioned as these nothing short of bizarre constitutional doctrines, that being a corporation is a person. Try to wrap your head like a pretzel around that. And equally bizarre and odd is this doctrine that political money spent in elections is speech, free speech. Money not being property, but rather a voice that has been so effective in drowning out literally our human voices in deciding what we need, what our communities want and need, and what is necessary for a livable world. So we have each and every congressional session, which commences every 2 years, beginning literally on, what day is that? Tuesday, the 3rd, when the new Congress will be sworn in. Congressional members, 118th session of. And that will be shortly thereafter when the amendment will formally start being circulated for support at the very sort of upfront, asking our representatives, those we can convince, those who were on board before that may not need much convincing, and others who may need a whole hell of a lot of convincing, which many of you and us were a part of. Both the easy, easy to recruit, and those that were extremely difficult. Our lead sponsor, Pramila Jayapal, will once again be our lead sponsor. Her office has pledged to work with us and hopefully engage even more with us in being more supportive with making the connections from her end of the work she does with the We the People Amendment, making it difficult, as many speakers have said, trying to get metaphorically around beyond first base on their issues, which is virtually impossible so long as corporations rule and are able to hijack constitutional amendments and prevent our voices from being heard and us being able to express ourselves authentically. So the amendment will be introduced. We will be calling upon all of you and everyone on our mailing list, all of our supporters, to join us pretty early on in the new year to begin that process of learning together, of skilling up together, of strategizing together, and then going out. Some of you separately, but with at least one of us nationally, virtually, if possible, but not necessarily only. If you feel strongly to meet in person with your rep, and that is possible and doable from their end, that's entirely doable. We hope that Representative Jayapal will join us in person, well, virtually, sometime as we kick this off. And we hope that she will work with her to try, once the amendment is formally introduced, to make a big deal of it, to try to get something in the popular press, in the corporate press, not just the alternative press, but the corporate press, which of course is a heavy lift because the corporate press doesn't want anything to do with this notion, really. So, we're swimming upstream, but we're used to that. We have developed resilience and strength and understanding on what it takes to achieve what some have said would be an impossibility. And it's still damn hard to do, but each and every time we do it, we're helping people get on the other side of the learning curve. Some of our own people, the aides we speak to, and even some of the congressional people who we speak to, sort of, they get the money and politics piece. But as the Peter Coyote video focused on, there's a whole lot beyond corporate money and elections that constitutes corporate constitutional rights that is just as democratically disastrous, if not more so, than money is speech. That if we overturn Citizens United tomorrow morning, we would still have to face. So it's so important to get that message across. And this amendment represents both the legal step, but also, as Keon mentioned before, it's a cultural component. It's a human rights issue. It's a cultural issue. We're trying to educate. We're trying to change the culture at the same time as we change the law. But we can't do that from national downward. We can only do that if we're working at it together. So please join us then and participate then with us. If you have a congressperson that you feel is potentially a supporter, but also, again, join us and participate now. If you can, and contribute what you can. Those who are able to make that at a minimum $29 a month a recurring donation will get the book. $50 a month would, at this point, get you that t-shirt. So anything you can do, go to movetoamend.org/donate ASAP. Thank you very much. And you'll be hearing more from us if you are already on our list. If not, if you're just tuning us, running into this via Facebook, go to movetoamend.org/motion, sign that motion, join the nearly 500,000 people, and you too will soon be on the other side of the learning curve. That I guarantee that if you look at some of these materials and understand some of these materials, and you don't have to spend a lot of time doing it, I guarantee you will know more about corporate constitutional rights and these amendments that have been hijacked than just about every single congressperson in the United States of America. So join us. Thanks.
Jenny, did you want to say anything?
I guess maybe just to say that, well, my name is Jenny Spanos, one of the national co-directors. I do identify with the pronouns she and her. But, these issues and these insane doctrines are not foreign, right? Look what the Supreme Court has already done just this past year, just in 2022. They have relegated, corporations were recognized under our Constitution 50 years before women were recognized, right? And this year, the Supreme Court has decided that states individually can decide whether or not women's rights should be protected. And yet we have, since Citizens United, Hobby Lobby case, is another prime example of where corporations' right to religious freedom trumps a woman's right to her health care. These issues are tangible, they're everyday, and it is a cultural shift. And it's also an educational, like Tara was talking about. She went to a barnstorming and she's like, finally, I see the root. Getting to the root, and that's what Move to Amend does. It gets to the root of why we are not getting any traction in so many areas, from what Charlie was talking about with some just common sense gun laws to, our healthcare reform to, even parking your car now costs per hour. So that's why this work is so important, and that's why I moved to Amend. It's my passion. It is also, I'm dedicated to it because it is getting to the root of the problem. Ending corporate constitutional rights. A corporation is not a person, but a woman is, and she should have her rights protected before a corporation's right to make money is protected. What she does with her body and how decisions she makes with her doctor. And I would like to talk too about the end of the year fundraising. We do get, more than a third of our budget comes from the end of the year fundraising. And I just want to thank the over 200 people who have donated so far to the end of the year campaign. We really, truly cannot do this work without you. We are in this to win this. And we do recognize that this is a marathon and not a sprint. But, we're going into another reintroduction. Every time Congress comes to a new Congress comes, we have to reintroduce the We the People Amendment, re-educate new legislators, and also still build on our coalition of over 700 endorsing organizations. We have also this year just hired a new legislative director, and your contributions help to pay her salary. So, again, we don't get big corporate grants. We don't get any government funding. Super PACs are not supporting us. So, you are this movement, we are this movement, and we're in this together. So thank you so much for all that you are doing to raise this issue up and to make it viable and a reality. And that is what we are doing, is making it a reality. So thank you so much. And thank you all for being here. It's Friday night, the eve before New Year's Eve. And, y'all are here, always solid and always pushing forward. So thank you so much.
Spend New Year's Eve with folks who have such a clear and forward-thinking vision for where we need to be, and a plan for getting there, which is a great thing too. I know that we have a plan for how we want to close, but we want to make sure if anyone has questions for us, you've had a chance to ask those. You can type those in comments, I think, unless there's another place for questions. And if there is another place, Alfonso, you'll have to jump in and tell me, because all I can look at are the comments. And look, I was Jenny for a second. That was cool. It was very, very cool. Any comments or questions from anyone?
Not yet. We only have some mentions, like Lauren saying that the poem shared by Greg was powerful and poetic. But I do believe Charlie wants to say something. Go ahead, Charlie. Oops. I think he dropped. But yeah, if anyone listening to this live stream wants to share or ask a question, please feel free to do so. We can see all the comments and we'll try to get to all the questions. Go ahead, Charlie.
I just wanted to give an example. I live in Nevada County, which is a Republican conservative county. And for years now, we've been reaching out to our local community. And
talk to us, Charlie.
The county seat of Nevada County, Nevada City, passed a resolution calling for this amendment. And that's amazing. They don't normally do anything now.
Well, I'm sorry. Here you are. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say that I live in Nevada County. It's a Republican conservative county. And for years now, we've been doing parades and county fairs and educating the public about Move to Amend. And our county seat, Nevada City, passed a resolution calling for the amendment. And they do not enter into anything national, but they saw this as a local issue. So present it that way. Your local folks, they don't think a corporation is a person. It's an easy argument to make, and please go out and make that argument. And if you can't make that argument, donate so that those who can make that argument have the financial support they need. That's all I wanted to say. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thanks a lot for that, Charlie. And if you have the opportunity with people, not saying that Charlie's strategy there isn't a great strategy, but if you have the opportunity not to necessarily perceive the conversation as an argument, but an opportunity to educate. Because as Charlie said, those folks know that a corporation isn't a person. So start from that place of agreement. Even if all you say is, you know, a corporation isn't a person, right? And you start there. There are lots of good opening lines for people. So, Alfonso, how are we closing?
So right now I'm tabulating. I'm loading the names of people that donated during this live stream to Wheel of
Are we
Fortune.
going to get some results tonight?
Yes, yes, we're gonna be announcing the
Oh,
winner for
wow.
the shirt, as well as we have a taker for one of the autograph books from Greg. So I'll be announcing that in just a minute. Uh,
That is exciting indeed.
Yeah, the gift. Greg's donated the book as a gift for anybody donating $29 or more a month, and it is a fantastic book. And it's different writings and poems, and so it's in nice and easy to ingest chunks. And you just heard one of his poems that he ripped out the other day. He just woke up in the morning, and it just comes to him like that, prolific, and always very grounded in reality and powerful. So don't miss this opportunity. Not only did you get to help support a real democracy movement, and but you're also going to get this book as a gift, as a thank you. So $29 a month recurring donation is all that'll take.
Thanks for that, Jenny. I like the lights at your ceiling in your room or your office, wherever you are in the house. It's very cool. Waiting with bated breath on these results that Alfonso is calculating. And I know that when we announce those results, we'll pretty much be done. But remember, you've got till tomorrow evening to make those donations and to make sure we're matching. And of course, every month for next year, either monthly, quarterly, every 6 months, whatever works for you, because it supports such important work for the kind of transformation we need and deserve. And it may be linked to our very survival as a species, as a planet, those small things. But looking forward to a great year and great things and lots of good work, beginning with your neighbors, your church, school, college, workplace, local park, certainly those places where you go when you're doing outdoor activities, fairs and county fairs, all kinds of places. You're working hard, Alfonso, I can tell.
Yes. So Jennifer Wood is the winner of the autograph copy, or she will be taking home a copy of Greg's book, The Depth of Change: Select Writings and Remarks.
Just like this one.
Excellent. And we have our winner.
Congratulations.
So
All right.
James Owen is the winner of the T-shirt. So James,
Woo!
you're still listening.
All right.
Congratulations.
Feel free to reach out to us with the size that you desire and the address so that we can ship that to you.
Are there doggy size t-shirts? Because Dana here is telling me that she would like a Move to Amend shirt as well. And since she participated tonight, much support, we will definitely make her one. Thank you, everybody.
Quick question: Does
great.
he know how to get in touch
Thanks,
with us?
everyone.
I have James' information when he submitted his donation, so I can reach out to him.
Great.
But if he's still listening, you can also message us either at info@movetoamend.org or via social media. I don't know if you were listening via Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. But congratulations, James.
Happy New Year, all.
Congratulations, everyone.
Thanks.
Happy New Year.
Congrats, you all.
So much, everyone.
Happy
Thank
New
you
Year.
all. Happy New Year.
Looking forward to working
All
with
right.
y'all in the
Mhm.
Happy New Year.
2023.
Have yourself an actual
All right.
democracy.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye now.
Wonderful.
Love that.
Bye.
They out here stripping our democracy, piece by piece, city by city, state by state. Voter ID laws, emergency financial managers, Citizens United. We gotta fight it. Move. Corporations are not people. Too. Money is not speech. Men, in fact, it's the root of all right now. We have the right to be free. Move. Corporations are not people. Too. Money is not speech. Men, in fact, it's the root of all right now. Stand up and defend your democracy. Have you recently read the Constitution? There seems to be some type of confusion. I thought it said the people were the institution and not the corporations that simply want to use them. The truth is currently a fusion of corporate loot and our government that is outright abusive. People need change. The state, it refuses. They're saying we're mistaken. Well, show us where the proof is. They control the media, movies, and the music and determine where supplies of the water and food live. We need a strategy. Here is a solution. Build a movement to give our rulers improvements. An infusion of human to counteract the hubris that has our ecosystem near useless and our youth pissed. The founding fathers were flawed, but they knew this. So they gave us the tools to move with. Let's use them. Move. Corporations are not people. Too. Money is not speech. Men. In fact, it's the root of all evil. Now, and it's time to take to these streets. Move. Corporations are not people. Too. Money is not speech. Men. In fact, it's the root of all evil. Now, so get on out of your seats. Citizens United is the lie. Corporation doesn't know life, nor does it die. Profits from the 100 richest fictions alone in 1 year can make all of poverty gone. The Republicans are lost. Democrats bought. Most American people have forgotten that we fought for healthcare, education, services, and safety. It wasn't kindness, it was war that ended slavery. Not advocating violence, I am saying that lately a lot of folks is dying in ways that seem shady. A lot of students is hiding from debt that they can't beat and asked to be excited about a future they can't see. It's not a climate crisis, it's a corporate crisis, because a corporation can never know what life is. Only a human can. What's the solution then? Amend the Constitution or it's revolution, man? Ooh, corporations are not people. Too. Money is not speech. Men. In fact, it's the root of all right now. To us to educate and to reach. Ooh, corporations are not people. Too. Money is not speech. Men. In fact, it's the root of all right now. Which side of the fence you find your feet? Hip-hop never died. The corporation stole it and told us with bonus that we never owned it. They just loaned it out for the moment. The policy and culture matrix. When corporations shape it, only the profits hold it sacred. Though they stole to make them, we don't have the convenience of giving up. Gotta swallow all of the real, even if it comes from sippy cups. It's not a matter of political correctness. It's a matter of having the knowledge of what respect is. You can't defend humanity without joining it. This is our responsibility, let's stop avoiding it. Instituting love as a practice and overcoming the fascists to achieve the democratic, economic, and ecological collapse. I am not being neurotic, I simply offer the facts. We the people are under a monster's attack. It's time to rise, open the eyes, and take our democracy back.
Ooh, corporations are not evil. Ooh, money is not